Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Papito here. In today's video we're going to talk about how to reduce your taxes exploiting the deduction or deductibility cost through your business in Europe. I'm not just talking about one single country here, but I'm gonna give you some example of how tax authorities of each singular European jurisdiction determine if your expenses are for real deductible or not, when you are in doubt, when is the gray area, and how to win any kind of tax audit or any documental check on your expenses. Now, if you stick up to the end of the video, you will understand exactly the logic behind, and you will easily and smoothly run your business in any European jurisdiction without risk any fine. Now, if you're new in this channel, I just want to remind you that ESENtaxa is talking about how to optimize your taxation. Before I had the relocation in Europe, and we are also an accounting firm in Belgium and Italy that basically help you to run your business easily without even think about all the bureaucracy behind it, because we deal with everything. You just have to mind your business. At the top of it, in the description below the video, you will have our calendar link, just if you want to book a consultation to have planification to tax consulting in order to planify your future business in the future country that you wish to relocate to. So along tax planning long term definitely help you to optimize your taxes and exploit also the newest law, or how to avoid the worst tax laws that unfortunately bite your income for higher taxes. Now, going back to the topic of this video, how to correctly first deduct your business expenses while you're running a business in Europe. Now, I'm not here in this video, I'm not going to touch about the VAT, how to tax credit your VAT, how to deal with it. Here we are just talking about tax expenses on revenues. Now, the logic behind it works in all European Union countries. You make some profit, you run your business either as a company or as an individual, and at a certain point of time your business needs some cost in order to run, and those costs of course are deductible. Now, here the big thing. First of all, whenever you are asking to your account, whenever you're in doubt, especially for you it's the first time that you're running your business, you're a startup, or simply you're an employee, that you're moving to a freelance status, which is quite common in here amongst our clients, you don't know about how to deal with cost, how to deal with expenses, and what to put as expenses, what kind of expenses give to your accountant, and if those expenses are legal, not legal, half deductible, 100% deductible, or a certain percentage deductible. Now, the logic behind is always the same in all European Union countries. It's always the same. You cannot deduct, in principle, and when I say in principle means logically, any kind of expenses logically connected to your business. Okay? So when you run your business, you set up a description of your business, either as a company or an individual. In both cases, you will give to your accountant the description of your business. Now, if it's a company in certain countries, you need a notary that specify the object of your company, which describes your business. And from the description of your business, we extract ATECO codes or natural codes, depends on the country's name, but there's a code behind the descriptions. And through the description, we extract every single code, which basically it's a way for the tax authority to understand exactly by code what kind of business you're running. Okay? Now, if you're a company, as I said, notary, draft the deed, will be register the deed, and the tax authorities know exactly what's the description and what's the code that you have asked to register behind the description. When you're an individual, you simply give the description to your accountant, and the accountant comes up with the codes behind it. And based on those codes, which again I said, behind the codes there is a description of your business, we know exactly which kind of expenses we can deduct, which are not related to your business logically. So the code for us, for accountants' point of view, represents the point in which we can determine if a cost that you're giving us, it's logically connected with what you have described and what you have declared to the local tax authorities. Okay, so first things, the description has to be extremely clear. You can also describe something that you want to do in the future. This is a very nice trick. So probably even if you're an individual, you can describe something that you would like to do in the future, or you're going to implement, because it doesn't matter that you are right now just a consultant, but you want to in parallel add another business. So our suggest in the meantime add multiple codes, multiple description through which we can extract multiple code, which means you can enlarge the possibility to deduct more costs. Because of course, if you're just a consultant, you have a certain number of things you can deduct: classical telephone, workspace, laptop, classical things, office stuff, you know, that's of course you can deduct. But if you are a trader, or if you want to move into another kind of business, such as healthcare business, I don't know, you can deduct other things, machinery stuff for healthcares, okay, which have nothing to do. They are two completely different businesses, but you can deduct also stuff which are not related to the previous business, okay? And here it's a very important point. If you enlarge the possibility of having multiple business, multiple ethical codes, multiple costs logically connected to your business, most of those costs coincide, matches with your private life. So, and here's the point. If I need to, for example, if I need to run my business, I need, for example, a car. I need to move around the clients, but car is also something that I can use for myself. So how the local authorities determines when you use it for yourself and when you use it for the business. There is not really an easy way to do it. So some local authorities they decide a fixed percentage of deductibility, and based on the country's idea of how much time you could potentially virtually use your car, you will have this deductibility percentage. So the car in Italy, for example, is deductible 20% only because the Italian state thinks that for the majority of the time you're using the car for your own purpose, okay? So they don't trust too much the taxpayer. While in other countries, such as Belgium, as now also in Belgium is going down, but this used to be 75%, and also 100% for electric cars, you see? And you can use for both purposes, private and business purposes. Another country has a different percentage. So every kind of cost, this is the second principle, every kind of cost related logically to your business, but they could match also with your private expenses, the state doesn't give you 100% of deductibility, but gives you a lower percentage. For example, at restaurants, if you will go to restaurants, and of course in the receipt of your restaurant you will have at least 2 persons eating with you, it could have been a business lunch, but the state cannot easily check this. So what they do, they give you a forfeit deduction which is lower, it's not 100%. In Belgium it's 69%, Italy 75%, in another country 80%, in another country it's 40%. Okay, because they give you, okay, from Monday to Friday, I'm quite sure it's a working day, you deduct this stuff, because sometimes you could use it by yourself, and sometimes because you use it for business. So I'm not gonna check every time, but I'm gonna check, I'm gonna give you a lower deductibility, so we found an agreement. Okay, so this is how it works. Another case, you want to use your rent, your apartment that under rent, because you're living in a certain country, you're moving to a new country, you rent your house, and in this house you want to use a space to run your business from home. Classical. Certain country gives you 60%, some other countries give you 50% deductibility of your rent, other countries they just want you to calculate the space that you're really using, and based on the proportion of a meter square you can really deduct your space from your business used for your business, and also the rent and bill, electricity, etc., etc. So every time that your logical expenses connected to your business is also connected potentially with your private life, we have to check limits, different percentage of deductibility, and of course we have to make sure that you're not exploiting too much. For example, and this is something that a lot of people are falling to this issue. So if you're running a business such as consultant, you cannot have thousands and thousands euro in restaurants. Doesn't make any sense with your business. So it's not just that the cost has to be logically connected with your business, but also the cost cannot be too much based on your business. There is a principle, Italy has, for example, uses this principle. If you have your business that has too many costs and you never make profit for multiple years, one next to each other for 5 consecutive years, let's say, they will find out that at a certain point they call you, they say, why are not making any profit? Your business is not going well, so you're using your company not properly. Why you keep doing your work if there is no profit? Why your company exists in the first place? Okay, so everything must be logical, not just the cost itself, but also the way you run your business. I cannot purchase 20 cars from my business if I'm just, I don't know, selling some online stuff on my e-commerce. Probably I don't even need to go around because I'm doing everything online. Why I have purchased 20 cars? Of course, this doesn't make any sense. And the tax authority could disqualify this deductibility cost and also giving you fine and also other kind of issues you might encounter. So what you have to do here, whenever you have a doubt with a cost, always discuss with your accountant before making any purchase. But always think about the logical principles of being connected with your business, first things, and do not exaggerate based on your business. These are the two elements that are always in common with any kind of European tax system, okay? Certain other countries, they are more strict. Again, I take again the example of Italy. The tax authority assign a score to the taxpayer to see if the taxpayer is reliable or not, based on how many costs they deduct on the balance sheet, and based on that, if they are very coherent, based on statistics, based on the logic, they will assign a higher score. So Italy makes this system, other countries make different system, but the logic behind is always the same. Okay, so how to do it properly? Here in ESENtaxa, we know exactly the best way to not just optimize your taxation, which is the first target of our channel, of our work, but also, and this is very important, avoid that you pay fine, that you get contested by the tax authority, which is extra money that you should not pay. And how to do that? Makes the things properly, legally, logically, and basically based on our experience, we can tell you this amount of cost should not be deducted. This amount of cost, please make some limit, don't exaggerate, especially if you're already applying some other tax benefit and you are under the spotlight. In this way, you're not get bothered by anyone. You make your business, you optimize your taxation, you mind your business, and everything is gonna be fine, okay? I just want to give you these tips. It might seem obvious, it might look like obvious tips, but it's not for a lot of people, especially for those who are approaching for the first time a business. Those who were an employee and they switch to a freelancer or sole proprietorship status because it makes more sense for certain type of tax regimes in the new country, okay? Doesn't mean, it means that some other country makes more sense to be an employee, some other country just pay a lot of taxes, just switching the status to self-employed. Okay, and then you have to deal with all this system of deducting a lot of cost and expenses. It's a little bit more bureaucratic, but again, we can help you easily with these kind of things. It's true that if you manage very well your costs, at the same time optimize your taxation, you're gonna really spare a lot of taxes and be proud about your business running correctly in the new country of destination. I hope I gave you some simple suggestions and that you like this video, and I repeat that in the description below the video you have our calendar link just to book a consultation with us to make a tax planning in long term, discuss about also the cost system in a specific jurisdiction you're moving to, and of course for anything else you can also write us an email, info@esentaxa.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and notification bell and like button to be always updated whenever we release any kind of content in this channel. See you to the next content. Bye.